Partners. I'm here with John Ragland Jr. with Supreme Lending. Just wanted to go over some basics of the financial industry and mortgages and whatnot. So I just invited him here. We're going to go over some things. First, how can people contact you?
The best way to contact me would be by phone or by email or even by text message.
All right, and I'll have all those up at the conclusion. So let's just go ahead and start. Question number one, what exactly is a mortgage? A lot of people think they know what it is, but break it down for us so that we can really understand.
Absolutely, it's a great question, Michael. A mortgage is a loan that's secured by real estate. In order to purchase property, if you don't have cash to buy the property, then you would need to get a mortgage in order to purchase it. You can combine the cash you have with a mortgage in order to purchase the property, and if you don't have any cash, then you would need a mortgage that doesn't require down payment.
Gotcha. So what are some things to think about when you're looking at buying a house as far as the mortgage goes?
Well, you know, Michael, with all the changes in the mortgage industry, there's been a lot of changes with the foreclosures and the short sales over the past couple of years. It's so important to get pre-approved up front. Pre-approval includes review of your credit report, the income that you're receiving from your employment, the funds that you have in the bank, and then we determine which loan programs you qualify for. If there are any concerns with your qualification, then we can deal with those up front rather than having a surprise during the loan process.
Sounds good. So you're going through the numbers and someone calls in, they give you, their income and all this. And how do you come up with the amount that they can actually spend on a house?
It's another great question. It's definitely important for a home buyer to know how much they qualify for before shopping around for a house.
Right.
There's nothing worse than falling in love with a $300,000 house to find out you only qualify for $150,000. In order to determine how much a home buyer qualifies for, I look at their income and we use their gross monthly income. I look at their income and I compare that to the debts that they have on the credit report to determine how much income is available for a house payment. If a home buyer makes $1,000 a month and they have debts of $800 a month, that's only $200 of income available for a house payment. That would be a problem. So those are the two components that we look at to determine how much house payment can they afford, and then based on that, how much of the sales price should they be looking for.
Okay. So let's say you're pre-approved, you find the house, you're going to closing. How much money typically does one need when they are closing for closing costs, down payment, all those things?
Great question. It's so important to know how much to expect to bring to closing before you put a property under contract. Again, you don't want to have a surprise when you get to closing. The funds that are going to be due at closing are going to be a combination of your closing costs plus the down payment. That's going to vary depending on the loan program. Some loan programs don't require down payment. And you may also be able to negotiate the seller to pay closing costs on your behalf, which would help to get the funds due at closing down as low as possible.
All right. So what kind of credit score do we need right now? And if you've got something that's a little low, what are some little things that you can do to help raise it?
We have several different loan programs that have a range of minimum credit score requirements. Typically 640 would be the minimum, but we do have programs that go down to 600 under certain circumstances. The best way to improve your credit score is to pay your debts on time. You also want to have at least one revolving or charge card because that makes up a third of your credit score. And if you don't have any kind of open revolving debt on your credit report, you're not going to be able to get as high of a score as you possibly could. When you do use your credit card, it's important to not charge the balance higher than 30 to 40% of the credit limit at any time. The creditor is going to report the information to the credit bureaus on a specific date, and if your balance happens to be higher than 30 to 40% on that particular date that the information is reported, your credit score is going to be lowered because of that.
Gotcha. So this is a little bit of a technical question, but I know a lot of people have probably heard the ads on TV for, qualify now for this new low mortgage, and it's got an APR of 3.5 with an APY of 4.9. What is the difference? What are the two terms, and why do they use them both?
Well, annual percentage rate is what the acronym APR stands for, and then annual percentage yield is what the APY stands for. The difference between the two just have to do with the way that the interest is calculated. For mortgage transactions, we use annual percentage rate. And the annual percentage rate is a combination of the interest rate on the mortgage plus the closing cost. That is a combination of the total cost of the mortgage. The actual rate that the interest is going to accrue at is the interest rate. The annual percentage rate is just a figure, a reference point to help when determining the total cost of the mortgage.
Gotcha. So, a lot of people have a lot of opinions on this next one. 30-year, 15-year, or ARM?
It's really a complicated question, and there's not one program that is right or wrong. It really depends on several factors. The most important factor is going to be the most important factor I would say would be, what is the home buyer's goal? What's their financial goal? What's their financial picture look like? If they can't afford a 15-year payment or they can afford a 30-year payment, then either they should buy a cheaper house to afford a 15-year payment or be comfortable with a 30-year payment. The 15-year payment is going to pay off that mortgage in half the time, and so you're going to have a higher monthly payment. The adjustable rate mortgage will have typically a lower interest rate than a fixed rate mortgage because you're assuming some of the risk. That could be a good product for a home buyer that doesn't think they're going to live in the property for a long time or has the financial ability to handle a change in interest rate and payment further down the road. I think to determine the correct term of the program, it's just going to depend on the financial picture of the home buyer, where rates are at the time, and what they can qualify for.
Great. Well, I want to thank you for coming and doing this. How can people get a hold of you? It's johnraglandjr.com.
It is. johnraglandjr.com is my website. My cell phone number is 770-335-6373. You're welcome to leave a message, or you can send a text message. You can also email me, Michael, at john, John, .ragland, RAGLAND, .jr for junior, at supremelending.com.
Thank you. Once again, I'm Michael Parker. You can reach me at 404-626-3955, or you can go to my website. It's www.michaelryanparker.com. Anything that you need, whether buying or selling, feel free to get in contact with me. Thanks again, John.
Thanks, Michael.